So I so I got my COVID test kit the other day, and I
Oh, from Joe Biden.
from Joe
Mr.
Biden,
Joe.
and I freaked it.
Wait, you get tests? You get? I didn't know that you get in 15 minutes your results. I thought you had to send it into a lab.
Have you? No, these are the rapid tests, you dummy.
Oh, I've never done
This
that.
man's
Myself.
this man's never taken a COVID rapid test before. This man probably has COVID. Speaking of which, I actually never got my COVID test results from yesterday. This is concerning.
You open up your email right now.
Let's-
and find out you're positive on the podcast.
Let's see, shall we?
No, why would you do that? That would be the best part of this podcast. People would want to listen just for
Let's see if Brandon's gonna work for the next 2 weeks. The big reveal.
Because
what the
I'm the
fuck?
breadwinner of the family.
Shut up.
It's true.
No. Log into my chart. Let's see. Here, drum roll, everybody. Drum roll. Wait. I forgot my my login.
Oh,
There's a login. Never mind. Okay, I'm not doing this. So it's up in the air. We don't know if I have COVID or not. I probably don't.
File it under Obama.
Opam. All right, that was a pretty cool intro, wouldn't you say, guys? Welcome back to episode 72 of Stack. This is gonna be a fun episode this week. It's gonna be a very interesting. We're playing with very little
Fire.
cute, unique, vibey topic. That was really presented by Chris here. He thought of this really cool topic, and Chris, I want you to sort of explain what we're gonna be talking about here today, will you?
yeah.
Give us a little taste.
Basically the idea for this one is movies where one sequence or scene or what have you makes up the price of admission for the entire movie. Basically just movies with one scene that absolutely stole the show. This doesn't necessarily mean the rest of the movie is bad. It very well could be bad or it could be very good. But this scene in question can usually be used to highlight the quality of the larger film itself, or just like is one fun scene that you could just like want to just like that just stuck with you after watching the movie. I realized pretty quickly that there are a lot of movies out there that have that one scene that people look forward to every time they watch it.
Yeah.
So I tried to pick films that lived within that, but also capture a little bit of different vibe for what I mean for when a scene steals a movie. But yeah, there's been a lot of these movies, and I'm excited to see what you guys picked. Did you guys do anything special to pick out your stuff, or was it pretty straightforward for you?
Yeah, Brandon, how about you go? Brandon, you had a little interesting journey going through this list. You were telling me before we started recording.
I just thought it was so difficult to like pick out movies that like one scene stood out, because like often I don't look at movies like that. Like I look at movies as a whole, frankly. So it's really hard for me when like people are like, oh, this scene makes the movie, and I'm like, yeah, but it shouldn't make the movie better. The movie should be good like on its own merits rather than just one scene. You know what I mean? Like that's what eggs me on about like Infinity War, because everybody loves the ending of that movie, but I think the movie as a whole is kind of mixed in terms of what a movie's supposed to do, I guess. But here I was kind of like trying to find stuff that, because Ethan had some pretty interesting ideas. We talked about it briefly before the podcast about what kind of films you could choose.
Just kidding. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yes.
And then like you could like go through like comedies and action movies and horror films, and like pick out like a specific scene, because those are segmented pieces of film rather than a continuous like intricate art sometimes. So yeah.
Yes. So what I did for this list was I picked out an array of films, in my opinion, where my first film is a film that's like it's basically you watch this film for this scene, you know, like you said, this scene is worth the price of admission to bear through the whole film. So for me, this first film's like an okay film, but like it makes it worth it once you get to this scene. Then I have a movie with a scene where when I think of that movie, I automatically think of that scene. You know, like that. I just associate that scene with the movie. Like sometimes when you think of a movie, you think of like the characters, the score, certain elements of things. I think of this scene itself is the first thing I think of when I think of this movie. And then I guess this is sort of similar to that one where like this is sort of on a more thematic sense. I chose a movie where a really great film where like this one particular sequence I feel represents everything this film is trying to talk about and everything this film represents. And I feel like if you showed this scene, like you'd sort of understand everything like what this film is trying to convey, you know? And yeah, that was my sort of reasoning for this film. I mean, for the stack. So let's have a fun episode here. Let's get into these cool creative picks. I wonder, what if we get a double? I don't think we're gonna get a double stack because it's such a broad topic. I feel like
there's a broad.
This
one.
Owens goes into our own little our own subjective little nitpicks.
Watch us get a fucking triple stack now.
Every single one. We all chose the same 3 films. No,
we're gonna have to cancel our stack.
Gonna have to cancel the show if that ever happens. Mark my
more
words,
butt
folks.
story. We're not forgetting that.
But let's get into it. So, once a week we set a topic or theme and go our own separate ways to construct our own 3 film stack. Then after a week we'll come back here on the podcast and share our own stacks 1 film at a time. Then at the end of the show we'll mix and match our 9 films to make the ultimate decision what quintessential 3 film stack we are checking out of this hypothetical video store. Brandon.
Yeah.
You're going first, bud. What's your first movie stealing scene? He's putting on the Mickey ears, folks. What does this mean? What's this gonna be? He's got the
I'm choosing Saving Mr. Banks. The Let's Go Fly a Kite scene.
That's why you were watching. He's watching it right before we recorded. Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah. So this is a movie that I think is a well-made film, but in terms of like how I watched it, I remember being like, all right, that was just a good movie, like a solid good movie, but I never really want to rewatch that movie. But this scene has always stuck with me since watching it, and I don't know why. Because like the movie as a whole is like, all right, it's about P.L. Travers, like her like trying to not relinquish the rights to Walt Disney so he can make Mary Poppins, which is like an all-time childhood favorite of mine. And she's like very well not trying to do that. And as a result, she's kind of jaded and cynical, and you kind of get to know her as a character. And for the most part, I feel like the movie is kind of cold and was mismarketed as like this Walt Disney-centric film when it's not really about that, you know? Like, when you cast Tom Hanks as Walt Disney, you're kind of expecting the movie to be about Walt Disney, not to mention the trailers had him in a lot of it when he's not really in that much of it. And, the movie is more so about P.L. Travers and her mindset behind her book and behind those rights. But then this scene comes along that is very, what's the word?
Cool.
Infectious. No, infectious. Like the joy and like, it almost brings tears to my eyes thinking of the scene and watching it. Because in the film, it means so much to the character. And you feel that regardless of how the rest of the film is making you feel because of the tragic past of P.L. Travers and her father and such, that it means so much to her to see her art like portrayed big not on the big screen necessarily, but in a way that is in a loving way that she didn't expect from somebody that she wasn't really respecting up to this point in the film. And it's joyful and it brings a tear to your eye because you care just like she cares for art. And that's why I like it so much. And that's why I put the Mickey conductor hat on, because it thematically works.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you guys have seen Saving Mr. Banks, but it is a good movie. A one-time
Chris,
watch,
have you seen it?
Chris,
have you
seen this movie?
No. I have seen it. And I don't remember the scene. Even though you just played it for me, I don't remember what happens in it. Can you tell me what happens in it? I fucking forgot.
Yeah.
This came out
Okay.
in 2013.
So, yeah, 9 years ago, almost a decade. Crazy.
Yeah.
So P.O. Travers is sitting in a room, and this is after many failed attempts by Walt Disney and company to try and make her to relinquish the rights to Mary Poppins, the novel, and the character. And they basically the songwriters, I forget their names, but they're like famous Disney songwriters from the 1950s and 60s, who wrote like Small World and stuff like that for like the parks. They sit her down and they play for her the final scene, basically in an attempt to like make her kind of appreciate their vision, because she sees it as like they're misportraying the past of her father, and they don't really realize the greater significance of what they're doing, because she just sees, oh, you're making it silly, and then in some cases you're making the father too cruel.
Mm-hmm.
And when that's not what she was going for, so she was feeling misrepresented. But this song, the Let's Go Fly a Kite song from the finale, ties together that film as well as the sequence for her to make it worthwhile, and makes her warm up to the idea of them making this film and her relinquishing the rights. Although it does go a little sideways after this sequence, but thematically it works for where it ends up at the end of the film, which is why I really like it.
So it's like, it's a layered climax. That's kind of cool, you know, because it's
Layered climax. I like that.
it's a layered finale for both this film, this
And Mary
story,
Poppins.
and the story that they're making.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. I vaguely remember the scene now, because you literally were. I was listening to the audio of you watching it.
It's a good scene.
Just
it
a
makes
few minutes ago.
And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like one of the films that I remember being like, it was a good movie, but I never want to really watch it again. But I
Yeah.
think of the scene all the time, and sometimes I'll just put it on my computer.
Do I own this movie?
I don't think you do.
I think I do.
Let me check your little letterbox list, shall we?
I think I own it on DVD. I think I got
Is it
it on
in
DVD.
our house?
I think it's in our house.
The fuck?
I don't know.
We're watching it after the podcast.
No, we're not. I don't want to get high and watch that. I do own this. I do own this movie on DVD. It's on the shelf. I don't know why I own it. I think I got it from my grandma. I think I inherited it from my deceased grandmother. Yeah, I thought this was a really sweet film. I gave it, what did I give it? 4 stars. I thought it was good.
I give it 3.5. It's a good movie.
3.5?
Just not a great movie.
I thought it was great. I don't know. I just feel like there's more. I wouldn't say it's a scene stealing film. I feel like when I think of this movie, I think about when Walt Disney was taking her around Disneyland. You know, and
Yeah,
they
but
go
that's
and
what they
ride the-
want you to think.
And that's what I think, because that's what I thought when I saw the movie. I was like, oh, that's what stands out the most, because like it's Tom Hanks as Mr. Banks.
No,
Just
it's
kidding.
not.
He's Walt Disney. Say Mr. Banks. Why do they call him Mr. Banks in this movie? It's Walt Disney.
Because Mr. Banks is the character from here.
Is the bank.
Never mind.
I'm kidding. This is a good. Yeah, I like your layered approach to this scene. I appreciate it, and I think it works for this category. Good job, Brandon. All right, Chris, take us to your first pick.
All right. You guys are going to know exactly what scene I'm referencing the second I say the title, because there's literally no chance you guys think of another scene.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
We saw this movie together.
Okay.
For one of our movie nights. Brandon picked this movie in November. I'm picking I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. I had to. It's a very memorable scene. Okay, so
Astonishing scene.
Roll the
I like
clip.
Justin, have you been feeling okay?
Yeah.
Your dad tells me you've been acting up.
You got something on your mind, buddy?
No.
Sure is a funny way to act with Christmas just around the corner, huh?
I don't care about Christmas.
What? Come here, let me feel you. You must be sick. Justin Carver.
What do you say?
Tasty.
What has gotten into you?
Reaches for bread.
No. You eat your vegetables.
No.
No? Well, it's a good thing you don't care about Christmas, because at this rate, you're not going to have one.
Picks nose.
Justin? Did you wash your hands before dinner?
No.
Why not?
I didn't feel like it.
What do you mean you didn't feel like it? Chris, I like how I like how I recommended that movie offhand, and then like right after I give this like diatribe about saving Mr. Banks, you like, you know, this movie that we watched like really messed up.
Oh god. How many times have we watched? Okay, yeah, I rolled the clip. Everyone knows what scene we're talking about. How many times we fucking just watched that scene?
We
20,
there was a
30?
point, yeah. Maybe 30. We've rewound
Back to
that
back. We
moment.
kept rewinding it and kept watching it.
And then we got to a point where we were like, we could quote it like off our hearts. Like, it was crazy.
No.
Tasty.
I don't care about Christmas.
Tasty.
Huh?
Okay. So for anyone listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, so I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus is this 2002 movie starring Dylan and Cole Sprouse as the same characters. This movie's about this troubled kid who accidentally sees his father dressed up as Santa Claus kissing his mother. Hijinks ensue, chaos thrives, Joker is born.
Joker is born.
This movie is pretty god awful. But I will say there is that tiny bit of bare bones innocence to it that makes it charming. It's fun as hell to watch. Like, we enjoyed the shit out of watching this, so they did something right. The scene in question is a dinner scene, which is always a pivotal moment in a movie. I feel like 'cause dinner scenes are always like a big deal.
Yeah.
And we, if anyone wants to listen, we did a little scene reading of this scene in question in our Parties movie episode.
That's the clip I played for the listeners. I just played us doing the reading of it.
Okay.
Cross promotion though.
This is just the absurdity of the scene. Nobody's being transparent with how they're feeling or what they're thinking. The dialogue's writing and delivery is so flat.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it caps off with one of the greatest sound effects ever put to cinema.
The greatest sound effect.
Ethan, do you want to tell the story of why this particular sound effect was especially funny to us?
Yeah, we have a good story with this. All right, so if you're an avid fan of the Stacked lore, you keep up with the Stacked lore, you know every episode with like the back of your hand. You may have noticed that every time whenever I use a fart sound effect, I use a certain fart sound effect that sounds like this. Now, there in the span of a month, I would say, we have heard that particular fart sound effect in 2 films. The first one being King Richard, starring Will Smith.
Great movie.
Shocking event.
One of my favorite movies of last year, and shockingly, one of the best movies to use a fart joke. Because it's that sound effect. Like, I don't think I would have appreciated that fart joke if it was any other fart. But because they used that one, it's brilliant. It's the best.
We looked at each other during that scene and we like lost it. We were in theaters.
We were laughing for the rest of the film. We were literally laughing for the rest of the film. We'd be quiet for a second, and then one of us would remember it and start laughing, and then one of us would realize why we're laughing, and then we'd start laughing. And then so we watched that, and we showed Chris the scene, and then we both started laughing again. And then we all decided to watch I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. And then the fart came back, and we absolutely lost.
We had to we all screamed, we all paused the movie. We had to take a second to process whether or not that actually was it, and we played it again. It was
again.
it, and again and again and again.
It's just the perfect way to cap off the scene, you know? because the
scene
scene's
it's the
Okay.
perfect way to do it. Absolutely.
Outside the fart sound effect, let's analyze this scene. Why is this scene so funny? The acting delivery is just so fucking awkward. It's so
the dad is giving like
I
a
can't even
decent
explain
performance, I think.
yeah.
But the mom's overacting, and then Cole Sprouse or Dylan Sprouse
Is giving
flat
nothing.
Is giving nothing.
He's giving nothing in that scene.
So it feels like they're like on 3 different like points, and then there's like weird blocking, and like the way the scene is set up is like, is he in the room the whole time with them while they're talking shit about him in the previous scene?
They're all talking like, oh, like he's been acting up. We should probably talk to him. And then like they move like 2 feet, and he's right there. Like,
And he's like setting something up to like, you know, play off as the final joke, but like you're like, huh, what is that? Like, you know? And not only that, but it's like it just keeps going down and downhill as a character study, or not as a character study, but as
this intimate character portrait. I saw on
it's a descent into madness, because like
it truly is.
Any normal film would like end after one of the dialogue exchanges where they would be like, just go to your room after that. But no, it just keeps going and going. And it's like the screenwriter was like, yeah, this is good.
This is good. What if it was all improv? What if we found out none of that was written? The director's like, just keep going. And then once the kid farted, he's like, cut! Perfect!
When they were shooting the wide shot, they were like, we gotta we ought to do the other coverage. Holy
He's
shit.
behind the camera holding his hand up, he's like, and then once the fart goes, he goes, end scene! Perfect, ladies.
It's like they had, and it was
scene,
also
moving on.
It was like they had 4 camera angles and they just kept cutting too. Every time somebody else spoke,
it was always the same. It's like a pattern, like dun, 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 like always the next shot. You always knew what was coming next.
Oh my god!
Truly incredible filmmaking.
Anatomy of a scene.
All you young film students, if you want to learn how to make a film, watch I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Highly recommend for students.
Highly recommend.
I'm so glad that I forced everyone to watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's my first pick. I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Okay. My turn for my first pick. It's a horror film. I would say it's a horror film. You two probably might see this coming, but I had to choose this because I think it's an okay movie, but there's a scene in this film that I think is the scariest scene ever put to screen.
Oh, yeah.
In all of cinema history.
I know.
Yeah. I know what this is.
Good movie.
It's a 1993 film directed by Rob Lieberman. It's Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
Good
Holy
movie.
shit. It's an okay movie. The majority of the movie is just hillbillies going like, tell the truth. I didn't say shit. I'm telling the truth, I tell you. Put me on that fucking lie detector test. I saw an alien, I swear. And it's just that. And like, it's just this just boring drama about these hillbillies claiming they saw aliens the whole time, based on a true story, I guess. But then it gets to the real meat and bones in the final act of the film, where they're all searching for this one dude who actually was who was missing, and they're saying he was abducted by aliens. Everyone thinks they killed him, and then the dude finally returns, and he's home, and he accidentally knocks over syrup, and that triggers his
PTSD.
his PTSD of what he's been through, and we get to see exactly what happened to him, and it is horrifying. It encapsulates everything of why I'm scared of little gray aliens. All right, little gray aliens are my greatest fantastical fear. I have more reasonable fears, like I don't know, other stuff like that. But if I had to choose like a big
commitment.
fantastical fear, what? No. You asshole. Fuck you. No, not commitment. Other stuff. That's for my therapist and not for the Stacked podcast.
I'm sorry.
No, so aliens my greatest fantastical fear, my greatest supernatural fear, I'll say. You know, everyone's got a big supernatural fear, whether it's ghosts, goblins,
Not me.
Bigfoot, sharks, you know,
I don't.
Satan, maybe. Some people are afraid of Satan. Vaccines. No, everyone get vaccinated. But mine are little gray men. I like aliens. Like, I'm not scared of like E.T. He's a little brown alien. You know, he's got kind eyes. The little gray aliens with the all black eyes, the big beating head, they're tiny, they probe you. It's horrifying. But this scene encapsulates everything. See, he wakes up, he's in the pod of the spaceship, he can't breathe, he's in this weird gooey stuff. He gets out, he's trying to escape, and then you see the aliens, they bring him in, they start shoving shit down his throat, like clamping his eyes open, shoving tubes in him, and they're all looking at him. They're scary as fuck. It's the scariest scene. It's so hard to watch that scene. Look. Oh.
Chris just showed an alien.
Everyone knows how scared I am of aliens. If you know me, you know if I see the little gray men at Not Scary Farm, I lose my shit on the log ride. I almost break my nose, slamming my head on the log.
True story.
True story. Got a bloody nose because I ducked from an alien. I smashed my head on a seat. But yeah, I had to choose this scene. It was the first one that came to my mind because I'm like, it's an okay movie, but I think whenever I think of Fire in the Sky, I think of this scene. So yeah, that's the one I chose. Brandon, what do you think about Fire in the Sky? I know you like it more than me, which is crazy.
I do. I think it's a great alien movie because like I feel like a whole movie of like alien experimentation would be cool and it would be a great exploitation of humanity sort of thing. Like a good slasher in space that's not Jason X would be great. And something where like sentient alien beings that are like able to be scientific and stuff rather than something like Alien or Predator would be really cool. And I think this is the closest thing we've ever got to that. But also I like the sequences beforehand where you've got these guys who are like trying to convince everybody around them that they've seen something terrifying and that their friend is like missing because he got abducted by aliens. And I think that's fantastic drama. Like if you're going into this expecting it to be like an alien abduction film like the one I just described like previous, then you're going in with the wrong expectations, I think, and you're letting yourself down. Ethan. But like I think it's a genuinely good drama. Like these guys, it is pretty like ridiculous what they're saying because we've never found alien life, so why would we believe them? And like seeing their horrified PTSD of this like event that we didn't see is like sometimes scarier than actually seeing like what is actually happening with these aliens on the ship. Because it's what you don't see that's scary in horror films. But I will say this is the standout scene in the movie. It is very cool, and I wish more movies would do this with alien films rather than. I feel like whenever you get an alien film, it's very generic, and this felt like it was stylized in a way that like felt unique and nice. I don't know if nice is the right word, but unique is.
Yeah. I don't know, like
it felt alive almost. Like I don't want a metal spaceship with like little gray men.
Or
these
like
weren't gray men necessarily.
With like these abstract creatures. They're kind of gray, but they what you see is that they wear suits that make them look like the little gray men. That's why.
Yeah,
that's a cool detail. Where like that's why people like have made the little gray man aesthetic thing like
a thing. Yeah,
because they've seen them in their suits that they have to wear when they're on like in
other planets.
Land,
yeah,
when they're on other planets, but they're still fucking scary regardless. They're like pale and they have those eyes.
They're humanoid.
I love it's a simple alien design, and I think that's the scariest thing of all. Everyone's like, all these movies these days are trying to do abstract like aliens, you know, like come on,
like with like Edge of Tomorrow and
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, The Matrix.
Like, what else?
Well, I mean, I guess that's technically
that's a robot. I was gonna say Moonfall.
Technically Arrival.
Don't
Arrival.
spoil movies.
Okay,
But that one's like they do abstract.
That
I feel
one-
like they make good use
that
of
one makes
though.
sense though. The one in Arrival makes sense.
But that doesn't make it scary. That's not.
They're not supposed to be scary. They're not supposed to be scary. So that's
true.
fine.
That's true.
Or like Annihilation, I guess maybe a little. But that's not really. I don't know. I don't know. Just like if you keep it simple, people always make the arguments like, oh, but it's like it's what you imagine is always scarier than like what people put to screen, and I'm like, no, because I don't know. I like seeing stuff. I like seeing.
True.
I like seeing what people can come up with when I watch a movie. I get that for like books, but like I want to see what an artist can think is scary. Because when I think an artist, like, I think that's kind of a cop out in films. When you're like, oh, but what it really looks like, you'll never know because like what you think is is even scarier. Like, no, you're an artist. Show me like what you got. Show me what you want.
I feel
what
like
you think is scary, and I'll see if I agree.
The good approach
with
to it is like something like what's the movie I was just gonna say? The Babadook. Show a little bit, not a lot.
That's a good one. Yeah, because we know what he looks like off the pages of the book. Like
And
we
you
know
see
what he
him
looks
once,
like. And
like,
then
for
we
a
see him
brief
once. Yeah. And that's good because we know, like, we understand what he looks like, but even when he's hidden away. Or like Jaws. We know what Jaws he's a fucking shark, but we don't see him, and that makes it scary because we never know when he's coming. I think a good way of revealing like something is like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when they finally reveal the aliens. There's like the really scary one, and then there's like the nice ones, I don't know. They always do it. That's why I hate the movie Contact, man. Well, I think the movie's good, but that's why I don't like the ending. Is like, you never get to see what these aliens are. They're like, I get it. They're like these abstract beings that we can't really comprehend. So they make it like the shape of, spoilers for Contact, I guess. I don't know. They make it look like our dad. I'm like, just make it some normal ass aliens. It'd be so cool. I don't know.
I mean, it's just like, I feel like when artists are like trying to come up with things, when they think scary alien, they think something hideous like a monster, like Alien, Predator, like the I always go back to those, or The Thing even.
But that's but then they're iconic. Don't you want to make your monster iconic?
Yeah, but like I want a middle ground between the scary alien and the abstract one, where we like, and that's why I think Fire in the Sky kind of falls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so too. And that's why I chose film, because when you get to see it, it's horrifying. So scary. Chris, you've had to have seen this clip because I talk about this movie so much, right?
Yes. So I've only seen the clip. I have not seen the movie. Yes, I have seen this clip. It is pretty fucking terrifying.
It's brutal.
It's just like on top of like the surgical stuff and like the aliens and like, but also just like the texture of everything. Production designer did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
Like really just went off. It looked great. Mm-hmm. It looks great. It's a haunting scene. And yeah, I mean, I don't share in the same fear of little gray aliens as you do. But I mean, like, I mean, then again, like, if little gray aliens were operating on me against my will, like, I'd be pretty fucking scared, So
right?
Yeah, yeah, it's scary. So yeah, I get why you picked this movie. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Damn, we're having fun time here. Let's get into the round 2 here. Brandon, you want to take us into your second film?
Yeah, my second film is the worst film that I'm choosing.
Yeah.
And it's a movie from the early 2000s. Let me find out the year. 2003. It's a Ronnie Yu film. It's Freddy versus Jason.
Oh.
And
okay.
When you go into a versus movie, you expect some battles. And the climactic battle in this film, I honestly kind of prefer the first one, their meeting, because it kind of gives context to the whole thing. But the second is the one that everybody talks about because it is what you expect when you get a brutal showdown between two horror icons. Freddy vs. Jason, for those who don't know, is a movie where Jason is yet again resurrected and is now becoming jealous of Freddy Krueger for killing his victims in their dreams. So they have a vendetta against each other and want to duke it out because they each want to kill these teenagers. So there's these boring, middle, bland teenagers, one final girl, and these two horror icons just kind of in the middle of it, duking it all out. And the movie as a whole, not very good, very fun movie. I'd give it like a 3 out of 5. Maybe a 2.5 on rewatch, but right now a 3. But I can't get over that final climax because it is so over the top. And I mean, I don't know what the budget was for this movie, but it feels like it was pretty high for something R-rated. Like an R-rated horror action movie is kind of like unheard of, especially a sequel. But the fact that they were able to do what they were doing and it didn't look cheap was really cool. Like they capitalized a lot more on practical effects than you would expect for a film like this, which is why something like this works better than the Alien versus Predator movies, which are piles of dog shit, if you ask me. So yeah, the final fight in this movie is gory, it's brutal, it has excellent kills, it's got excellent banter one-sided banter of Freddy Krueger versus a voiceless creature like Jason. But yeah, it's a wonderful scene in an otherwise just okay movie. It makes it. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I haven't seen this movie. Chris, have you seen it?
Chris, you're muted, I think.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yes, I have seen this movie. Yeah, this was one of those movies that I think this was right when like I first grasped the idea of versus movies. I remember like Alien versus Predator was a thing, and then we have this, and there've been a string of them ever since. None come to mind other than Godzilla v Kong right now, but I'm sure there are many others. Yeah, this is a fun movie. I definitely can agree with that. The movie itself, I'm kind of grateful it doesn't take itself overly seriously, which I think works better because I think everyone can agree, even the the two horror icons within, like that. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous, but yeah, that final battle is pretty fucking fun. Like I think I remember like it wasn't in like a construction site, and then it moves over to the lake, and then there's the they have like gas canisters or something, or oxygen tanks that they use to fire at each other. I don't.
Yes,
yeah,
they
I remember
do.
it being
It
was a very fun fight, and we technically get a definitive winner in the end.
Technically,
But then there's a hint that maybe not.
But that's these horror films for you, because at the end of every Nightmare and Friday film after like the third installment, each of the horror icons dies in every single one.
Yeah.
And then at the end they're like wink at the audience to make the sequel.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
literally.
a fun time. Yeah, it's a dumbass movie, but it's so fun. Yeah. What's the name of the actor who plays Freddie?
Robert Englund. Yeah, that was his last movie, is Freddie.
That dude, come out of retirement, man. Come do another one.
He's still alive. Yeah.
You could do it.
Please just don't do what you did with the Platinum Dunes remake, please. It was so bad. It broke my heart.
Speaking of horror remakes, did you guys see that trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No, because I've only seen the first. It's a Netflix one.
It's coming out on Netflix next
Netflix
month.
one?
It's coming out on Netflix next month. It looks atrocious.
Well, I've only seen the first one.
It is. They're trying to do the same thing that all horror remakes are doing. That like they literally make fun of in Scream, where it's like, the old person from the first film is like. They're literally remaking Jamie Lee Curtis's character from the Halloween like reboot where like she's an old lady and now she's a badass, that girl, the final girl from the first Texas Chainsaw, and now she wants to kill Leatherface. And there's this scene in the trailer where Leatherface is on a bus and there's full of people and they all pull out their phones to film him, and this one dude says, don't do anything or I'll get you canceled, bro. And then Leatherface just like kills all of them, and I'm like, oh no. It looks
my God.
Absolutely base.
Why is he on a bus?
I don't
Why
know.
is he?
And
Well,
he's on like
that
they're,
sounds
at
like
this ghost town, and they're like, we're gonna rebuild. We're gonna like these teenagers like we're gonna rebuild this town, make it a new home for us. And it's like this. It's like this clearly this empty film set. You know, like sound like film stage. It's like oh
the reason why Scream and like the Nightmare movies were fresh was because one, the Nightmare films didn't take themselves too seriously, and Scream commented on the genre, and that's where they fit within like horror iconography. But when like brutal franchises like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre try to be like Scream and Nightmare, it just doesn't work. It just
And
doesn't
that's,
work.
That's the thing about Texas Chainsaw is like it should know what its strong suits are because its strong suit is very strong. That first movie is
horrifying.
hauntingly violent. It's so scary to think of. And there have definitely been like, you know, they had their slew of sequels and they're all pretty fucking forgettable. But there are certainly moments where it's like, oh yeah, Leatherface is fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like, why not go into that? Like, that's your strongest thing, and you're gonna abandon that. Like,
I think they're afraid of what happened with the Saw movies to happen to them, because the Saw movies, they took themselves seriously until the very end, and they still have, even with the Chris Rock Samuel L. Jackson one. I don't know if you saw Spiral, but it took it. It was like a drag. It just didn't feel like a Saw movie. Like some of the traps were cool, I guess, but like it was just poorly made. And I feel like they're just afraid of being bland and forgettable, and instead they're going to be so bad it's good, or try to aim for that. But yeah.
Well,
Freddy versus Jason.
About
State of horror slashers.
I haven't seen this movie, so I didn't have much to say. But I assume that the scene that does make the movie is when they finally fight. So
yes, there's 2 fight sequences, and this is the biggest one. Yeah,
the biggest one. Okay, cool. That's a good pick. All right, Chris, you want to go into your second one?
All right, I'm just gonna say it right now. My next movie, my pick was Sausage Party.
Huh? No, please don't do the. You can't do the final scene. Are you gonna do the final scene?
Yeah, I'm doing the final scene.
No.
Oh no, Chris.
Steals the movie.
Before I get into that scene in question, let me explain what this movie is. Sausage Party is about a group of anthropomorphized grocery store products. Stick with me here. On a quest to discover the truth of their existence. Kind of sounds like Toy Story, right? And then the rest of the movie comes on, and this movie really is quite something. First of all, let me just say, it's a genuine animated movie with character arcs, story progression, the works. Like it's properly made. But what we have on our hands here is an animated movie that is so ridiculously unconcerned with like anything to do with social acceptability that its story takes on quite a life of its own. Every moment of this movie is on some level it has something to do with depravity, extremity, obscenity, and it's all dialed up to like 100. And if that's not your kind of humor, this movie's definitely not going to be for you. But if you find this stuff kind of amusing, which I do, I'm not going to lie, you will have the time of your life with this movie. There are ways to analyze this movie even deeper, jump into, I hate to say it, but yeah, there's an existentialist undertone to this movie, and there's anti-religion satire embedded within all of it. I'm very much giving this movie a benefit of the doubt when I'm talking about this. But if you adopt that lens when you're watching it, you might spot a thing or two there, you know, like something to pick up on. All right, let's get to it. The scene in question is the penultimate scene of the movie where evil is conquered and heroes celebrate with a giant food orgy.
That's right.
Let me be clear. All of the characters in this movie are food.
Except for Paul Rudd's Selena's
character. They have
character.
sex in the end of the movie. All of them. I know, profane. It truly is. But for a movie, in my eyes, that I can only really describe as like an anti-religion, existentialist satire dickfest.
Yep.
There's worse ways to end this movie, in my head. Like, I think that, yes, it's the most ridiculous, gross, unnecessary thing ever. But also, considering what came before, this scene is not that unwarranted. Now, bear with me because yeah, it is very weird and very unnecessary. But this movie is way weirder and way dumber, but also a little bit smarter than you think. At least I give it that credit. And yeah, I don't know, Sausage Party, weird movie that just came out randomly in 2016, with an incredible cast, by the way. And yeah, it is kind of faded from any kind of cultural relevancy since then, but here we are talking about it now. Sausage Party. You guys got anything you want to say about Sausage Party?
Yeah, I'd like to do something special. So back when I was in high school, I used to write movie reviews for my blog on Flickr.
Oh, jeez.
And no. I would like to read the passage from when I was 17 years old, and I saw Sausage Party for this is my baby's first adult animated film review. All right, and here we go. Now, I'm one for raunchy comedies, and this one was great. There was just something about watching these cute cartoony characters saying fuck that really gets me. Some people say that it got old after a while, but I didn't even notice it that much. Now, this movie pushes a certain agenda, and if you aren't okay with it, then you won't like this movie. But this film alludes to situations that are going in today brilliantly. It was awesome. Now, the food saying fuck isn't all that makes this movie rated R. When this film wants to go extreme, it sure as hell does. I don't want to say anything, but the third act of this movie is one of the most surprising things I've ever seen on film ever. The last thing I'd like to add here is the voice talent. Now, of course, there's the usual voice cast of Seth Rogen films, but there were other great comedians in this cast, like Bill Hader, who has been in Seth Rogen films, but I didn't know that when I was 17. And their voices really raised the comedic timing. There's nothing else really to say about Sausage Party. It's just a fun, raunchy, hilarious animated movie that was just really refreshing. This movie won't be for everybody, but it certainly was for me. And then
Ethan, how much does that review still like stand?
I don't
like how you feel about this movie.
I don't fucking know. I've only seen it once. I saw it.
Is that Brandon's review of Sausage
Party? Is that your review?
On my Instagram.
So, but one more detail I'd like to add about when I saw this at Downtown Disney. My parents and I decided to go see back when the AMC theater was at Downtown Disney. We saw Sausage Party there, and my 17-year-old self was like, "This is fucking hilarious." And I don't know, a lot of stuff has come out about this movie about how it's corrupt and how it really treated its animators poorly. So I don't really want to really support this film.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? That's fine. That's fine.
I did not endorse this movie.
Yeah, a lot of union shit happened with Sausage Party that's not great, and so if you want to just read into that before you see the film, decide to support it. Maybe you can pirate it if you want to, but I didn't know that either when I saw it. It came out like weeks after I went and saw it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sausage Party. 17-year-old Ethan thought it was fucking hilarious. So. And that scene, like I said, one of the most surprising scenes on film ever. They were all fucking. That shit was crazy. Brandon, what do you think about Sausage Party?
Do you got anything to add to this?
I like the movie. I mean, I think it's kind of cheap in the animation department, and I think we know why after the news story. It works for what it is as a movie. There was a guy who in my theater passed out watching the movie. I noted that in my review because he was laughing so hard.
Oh, this one's a gut
Not because he was.
Everyone was laughing.
And I really enjoy the movie. It is a pretty shocking scene because I've never seen a joyful orgy depicted in a movie that wasn't probably pornography or exploitation. I've never seen that on film before. And so, I guess that's something to look at the film. It is very memorable. I don't think it steals the movie personally, but it definitely is the standout scene.
What? I think it steals the movie. What else steals the movie?
I just think the commentary is
the
really
rest of the movie's
great.
not that-
I think
yeah, the
it's a
rest of the
pretty
movie
good
is not
arc.
bad.
Yeah, the
But tell
arc
me
that the
one
characters
other thing.
have.
Nick Kroll's
What about
character.
the?
The juice
Wait,
box.
what?
He's the juice box, right?
No,
How
I
about the
love
douche-
Danny
how about the
McBride's. Yeah, the douche, that Nick Kroll's character that like chases
Oh, he's
after
a
the
douche,
food.
right?
Yeah. Or like how there's Danny McBride's character who has this existential crisis. There's the Disney musical number composed by Alan Menken, Disney legend in the film. That is a very great opening number. Very.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, this feels like South Park, and that's like a very big like praise that I can give it, because it does feel like the South Park movie, which is a musical. So I can get behind that. I like the commentary and the arc of Seth Rogen's character, and the hot dog and the bun relationship. That's very funny. And then there's also that horror comedy to get back to the store from all the like the foods that were left at or that were bought by I forget
Franco.
James
James
Franco's
Franco.
character, the drug
Yeah.
dealer.
Yeah.
So very good stuff.
A very, very interesting Israel versus Palestinian conflict.
Yes. Really resolve that for us.
Really, yeah. Like
I liked it.
Who would have thought Sausage Party would tap into the Israel versus Palestinian? Oh.
Maybe
Alright,
Gal
well, that's
Gadot
enough.
should have been in this movie.
And she should have been enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Oh!
All right.
Death on the Nile out this week or next week or something.
Is it? I don't fucking
I don't know.
care.
Early February.
Sometime February. All right. My next film. I'm choosing a film for a specific moment, for a specific aesthetic change that I think really is just like it defines the film for me, and it's always what I think of when I see the film. It's done by one of the masters, one of our favorites, our boy Akira Kurosawa. This sort of element aesthetic change has been done before, but I think it's really, really cool and unique here because it sort of puts us in the place of the characters and makes us feel the discovery that the same characters are feeling in the movie, and that is the movie High and Low. When they see the pink smoke. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a good scene.
yeah. So Chris, I know you haven't seen High and Low. I don't want to spoil this for you.
Yeah.
So I just want to say they see pink smoke in this movie. Anyway, I'll tell you what the movie's about. So the movie's about like a CEO to like a shoe company, right, Brandon? Shoe company.
Yeah, his doesn't his daughter get taken?
No. So his chauffeur's
Sorry.
kids get taken.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and it's sort of like this detective procedural about like finding this person who's trying to blackmail the CEO, and there's sort of a classist angle between the CEO and the chauffeur, and then there's like a sort of police procedural going on to trying to find where this guy is, and there's the scene where they pull off this thing to get this lead, and when they figure out they set off this scheme where pink smoke will go off in the city. They'll see it to let them know like where this person is, and when that happens, because it's like it's bound to go off. It's not a spoiler that it goes off because like they know it's bound to go off, and then when they see it, like this smoke is actually pink and it's a black and white film, and you're like, whoa, you're like, what the fuck? And then all the characters are like, what the fuck? And you're just like, whoa, that's so fucking cool that Kurosawa made us feel like what the fuck, just like the characters, because I don't think it would have had the same impact if it was just in black and white, you know? So that's like, whenever I think of High and Low, I think of that still with the pink smoke. It's a great film. It's Desser's favorite Kurosawa film. Fun fact. So you should.
Mandel.
Kobe.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a great film, great moment. Brandon, what do you think about this movie?
Great movie. I don't know if there's like one. This is a film to me that like sticks out on numerous levels. You know, it's not just like one scene that stuck out to me. Like, because certainly there are scenes where like they're trying to tap in like the phone and listen for like, you know, clues, and then there's sequences like where they're chasing this figure and it's like a cat and mouse chase and like you can't find him, or the train sequence in the movie. All very great sequences, but like to me, like not one sequence like stood out, although that sequence is meant to stand out because of the characters and stuff. I don't think it hit me like it hit you, but I remember still thinking that is a really cool way, because I've seen it done in other films before, mainly 1991 Schindler's List.
Right.
When they used the girl with the red coat. But that's because I saw that movie when I was younger. If I had seen this movie first, I think it would have blown me away more. But regardless, it's still a very good move in this movie. Very high quality movie. Good thriller. Kind of. But it's a really good drama too. I don't know. It's like all over the map. It's like there's like and one of the best performances from Tatsuya Nakadai.
Yeah. He's so good in this movie. Oh my god.
He's really good.
Chris, you gotta check it out. Gotta check it out, dude.
Dude, that the pitch of it being a black and white film and then color popping in, I like that idea alone is already like getting me excited. Like that already sounds.
And to have that be as like surprising to us as it is to the characters,
yeah,
it's like, oh, cinema, fuck. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so that's my. Baby. Are we going to the final round here? Oh, hell yeah, we are. All right, Brandon, kick us off with our last pick, will you? Pretty please.
1979's All That Jazz.
All That Jazz.
Have you guys seen it?
I remember I was talking to someone about this movie.
Is that with Roy Schneider?
Yes, Roy Scheider.
Haven't seen it. But I think I watched the opening scene for a class.
Well, I'm not talking about the opening scene.
All right, well, tell us about your scene that you're picking, buddy boy.
I picked the last scene of the movie, so I don't want to spoil it. And but it's so good, guys. It's so good because this is a movie that I love in its entirety. However, the last scene, because you're like, where is this going? It's kind of like Shutter Island, so I could have picked Shutter Island too, where for the whole movie, I'm like, where is this movie going in terms of what it's saying? Because I know it's this exhaustive quest for a man to, well, in Shutter Island, it's to like solve this case and for the audience to figure out what's going on in this guy's head. But in All That Jazz, you're privy to this guy's life where he's like, he's trying to conduct a film and conduct like music for this like play that he's writing. He's trying to edit his film because it's based on Bob Fosse's like own personal career, where he's playing like, I think, an exaggerated version of himself. But it's like, it's been a while since I've watched this movie, but the end of this movie is like, the coalition, or not the coalition. What's the
coalition?
No, the coalition. No, the coalescing of all these elements and how the stress and like
rainbow coalition.
The strength.
The rainbow coalition. Wait, what is that from?
I'm done. That's from Judas and the Black Messiah.
The Black Panthers are forming a rainbow coalition. What the fuck? Hold on. Are you guys leaking secrets?
No.
No.
What?
How does she know about this?
What?
I just got a text from Caroline saying the coalition. What the? Brandon, are you texting her?
What if she's there?
Is she here?
Oh my god!
What the fuck? How did you get here?
She can drive.
I don't want to ruin the podcast.
Oh, okay. You told me you weren't coming over today. All right. That's fine.
All right. So
okay, All That Jazz.
It coalesces into this like moment where the exhaustion and frustration of writing a musical and editing art and the frustration of not getting what you want out of the artist or not getting enough out of yourself comes to an end in a very, very fantastical way, and it deals with existentialism and like your life falling apart and dying, and it's really cool. It is one of the best musical moments ever in cinema, and it's something that
It's about dying. It's so cool.
I think Ethan would actually really dig it.
I had no idea it was about dying. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, because it's dealing with the 5 stages of grief through a musical number at the end, and it's like so crazy and like joyous, but also really sad because it covers both emotions. And it's like I've never pictured somebody like depicting this the way it is depicted within this film. The finale really stands up really far and away better than anything in this film.
Whoa.
But it's very good until the end, then it's great.
I just thought it was like a drama about putting on a dang old musical. I don't know.
You'll
thought it was
see.
just, I guess I'll see. I guess I'll go and check it out sometime. Sounds good. Chris, do you know anything about all that jazz?
No, not really. No.
Okay. Okay. I bet the scene sounds really cool though. It sounds unexpected to what I thought it was. So
Yeah, I thought this was like a really jolly movie.
yeah.
I mean, it is, but like it's like not really about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like jolly in a way that you don't expect. Kind of in like a antithetical way. Like you think it would be jolly for one way, but it's jolly in another way. I'm not trying to spoil the movie, but it's really good.
Jolly old Saint Nick.
Jolly old Saint Nicholas. Have you?
Did they sing that song in the movie?
No, they do not.
What? Are you kidding me?
I'm
All right.
not kidding you.
Um,
I'm joshing you.
no, that's not his last film. Chris, let's go into your last movie.
All right.
What is it?
Blade
Your
Runner.
Blade Runner?
Yeah.
What?
I guess so.
Blade Runner.
I don't know. There's a lot of great scenes. Is it Tears and Rain?
No, let me explain why. Yeah,
The only good scene in the movie.
What?
Brandon gave this movie 3 stars.
He's a criminal.
I am a criminal.
You are a criminal.
I'm wanted for many things.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, Blade Runner is set in the neon smog tinted dystopian city of LA in I forget what year. Where
Not
a police
2049.
officer slash bounty hunter. No, this is original Blade Runner. Is tasked with eliminating a group of replicants. Anyway, so we talked a lot about this in our space movies episode, but when people think of, and I think Brandon, you said this specifically, but like when people think of sci-fi, they're often referencing fun adventure movies like Star Wars. But really, Star Wars is, I would honestly argue that Star Wars is a space fantasy, not a sci-fi. But it has sci-fi elements, don't get me wrong. But when you break into what really defines sci-fi, it's stuff like this that really makes it so much more meaningful as a genre. Things like the existentially sublime, the rise of technology, the ignoble consequences faced by our world as a result of these things. And with Blade Runner, all of these broad ideas are brought into like this really focused meditation on the most fundamental aspects of our humanity through this sci-fi lens and through this very intimate, like pretty intimate story, all things considered. Like, and yeah, just like it's all very like it has that very like delicate gestural kind of vibe to it. Like, you have moments where you're contemplating things and the idea of things having emotions, the ability to perceive and utilize our own agency and what defines us as a human. And anyway, yes, the scene in question is towards the end of the movie where Roy, I forget how to pronounce his last name, Beatty delivers an incredibly thought-provoking monologue shortly before his death.
Yeah.
And this scene to me encompasses not only the concepts and themes illustrated throughout the film as a whole, but also carries the entire artful weight of sci-fi on its back. I think that one scene kind of defines what makes sci-fi such an interesting genre. And yeah, I mean, like, yeah, watching a replicant contemplate its existence, coming to terms of it with its mortality and its outlook on humanity before it dies is really disturbing, but also surprisingly enlightening. Especially the first time I watched it, it really opened my mind to ideas that I hadn't even considered before. And yeah, that moment where he delivers this monologue, and like the world kind of seems to exist as like a little like diorama of this one moment. Like it put everything that movie was talking about into perspective for me, and that's why I chose this movie. I don't think of it as a scene that necessarily stole the movie, even though that's the prompt of this, but I think of it as like the scene that defines this movie, at least to me.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you've convinced me, because that's essentially what my last pick too is, in a sense. Like, it's the quintessential scene for thematic like meaning of the movie, right? It's like,
I feel like
it's
all of us have
philosophical
kind of
meaning.
done that.
Yes, I think so too. Blade Runner is a fucking amazing film. Brandon, you are a sorry sucker. You are sour like my daddy's lips for giving that 3 stars.
It's all right. It's not a bad movie. It's just okay.
It's just oozing with so much imagination and creativity and emotion, and like, and just like,
It's dreamlike.
it's so dreamlike. It's just
But it's like that last philosophical punch that gets me, and that's what I feel like the second one's about. This one's not really like, this one's like the mystery, and then it's not really about the feelings of a replicant until the very end, or let the third act at least.
I think it is with like, was it Prim, her character, like meeting the dude who can't go off world, and like sort of following her character, and like how these replicants have to escape and live, and like how they're sort of oppressed by society, and like how you sort of see in a sense that Decker is sort of a bad guy at the end, you know? Even though they do bad things, like there's nobody's a real hero in Blade Runner, and like just cementing that with Roy Batty's final monologue in the film is like, it's so fucking good. I just love Blade Runner so much. It's one of my favorite films of all time. You've never really seen a film that just oozes with just artistry in terms of like what you see on screen, in terms of like futurism, and like I don't get this level unless it's like Akira, you know? And they like made like what I feel like when I see the world of Akira in Blade Runner, and it's just like, it's so impressive, you know? Which it has nothing to do with like the scene, but like that's why I love Blade Runner, and that's why I love the scene, because it's like it engulfs you in this world, and it makes you believe in these characters and everything. So when you get to find this thematic scene, you actually care for Roy Batty and his final monologue before, you know, his timer goes off, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it. Brandon, what do you think?
I kind of already expressed my feelings about it.
Yeah.
I'm just not really a fan. The second one does it more for me. I need to rewatch it.
Does it more for me too, but first one's still good.
I need to rewatch it.
They're like,
it's been a while.
They're like
But-
this for me. They're neck and neck, but this one's just a little.
I've
bit
only
just
seen the
'cause of my
theatrical cut.
Sentimental. You've only seen the theatrical? Well, no fucking shit. You don't
Dude,
like it.
yeah, watch Final Cut. It's on Netflix.
I own Final Cut too. Wait, so you've seen the theater where he says like the N word and stuff with his monologues?
Mhm.
That's the one you've seen? Yeah, no fucking shit. That one's boring as hell. Brandon. You never revealed this to me. Oh, Brandon. Oh, little Brandon. Hasn't seen the final cut. Well, we should watch it together sometime then. I think your opinion will change. Because everyone
I
agrees
agree.
that...
I think it will.
Yeah.
Final Cut's amazing.
He's only seen the theatrical. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
I didn't think it was important.
It's
They're completely different.
They're two
It's
completely
such
different movies.
It's crazy how different they are.
Oh, Brandon. Oh, Brandon. Oh, he's so silly, little Brandon, with his little movie watching habits. We love him, though. All right. Let's get into the last film here.
Fuck you. That's patronizing as hell.
We do love him, though. My last film is actually a film I watched today.
Oh,
it's Come and See.
I thought you were gonna pick the other one. Ice Age.
It's Ice Age.
Buckwild.
Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. No, that movie's fucking awful. I couldn't even make it through that movie. I hated it. No, Come and See. It's a Russian film directed by. Let me try to cipher this dude's name. Elim Kilmov. I think I nailed it.
Kalemnov.
Elim Kilmov.
Klimov.
What? Klimov? All right. Thank you. Elim Klimov. He directed this film. It's about the Germans' invasion of Russia. What? Belarusia. And wait, what does it say? No. It says... Is that not part of Russia? I just thought that was like an area of Russia. Belarusia?
Yeah, it's a country.
Oh, I thought that was Russia. Anyways, Chris is like, oh no. Come and See. The film is an absolute nightmare. I don't think I have ever seen the horrors of war. It's such a cliched thing to say for like, oh, war is like, that's just where you see the worst people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just so horrific. You know, it's like, yeah, no shit. But like this film, like, you just like, you're put in these people's shoes.
It's like Schindler's List is like, you know, like the closest thing to it, but like it's got nothing on it.
I mean,
the barn scene, bro.
The barn scene. That's the scene I'm choosing, by the way, is the barn scene. I think it's a church, actually. I don't know if it's a church or a barn. It's got a steeple. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like tall, but it's like it's empty too, so it could be a barn. Has barn doors. They never really specify. It's just a wooden building that they. Anyways, I don't want to spoil because Chris hasn't seen this film. I'm dying for you to watch it, Chris, because I think you will love it. The cinematography in this movie, and just like just how the director was able to play. He's one of the best directors for crowd working. That's what I was so impressed with for this scene. What'd you say, Brandon? The way that every single extra and actor is playing off in this scene and how long these takes are is insane. And you're like, you feel like you're there in this town when they're being like raided by Germans. Sorry about that. And you're put in their shoes, and it is devastating to see that anything like this could happen. And then it reveals at the end that it's just like, this has happened to like over 6,000 villages during World War II. And you're just like, what the fuck? You know? Like, it is just... Oh yeah, thanks for the text, Chris. It just popped up on my screen. It astonishes you, and you're dumbfounded. My jaw literally dropped to the floor when I saw it. Brandon, what do you think about Come and See in this scene?
I think, to me, like, it all blends together as like one scene. This movie feels like one long scene where the main protagonist is taken on this horrific coming of age adventure where they learn the true horrors of war. And this sequence is so scary because you are put in this kid's shoes, and morally you feel one way for the character.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you understand, which is really effed up to say because of like, you know, how it ends. but it makes 100% sense why you feel the way you do, because it's like, it's horrifying. What are you going to do? Are you going to act selfishly, or are you going to act selflessly?
Yeah.
And in most cases, people are going to act selfishly. So it's a very hard film. I haven't rewatched it in a while because of that, but it is one that I think everybody needs to see at least once in their life.
Yeah.
I've heard so much good stuff about this movie, and I've heard that I would love it, especially being someone who very much loves diving into existentialism. And I think putting that context alongside a war film, where war is an opportunity to engage with probably the worst of our humanity as well,
Yeah.
and potentially the best as well. I never know, but I feel
Yeah.
like this is probably a very depressing movie in my head.
Yeah.
At least from what I can guess. But yeah, those two things, like witnessing the worst of our humanity plus existentialism, that's a combo that's gonna pack a punch, I feel like. And based on what Ethan said, it sounds like it does, and based on what everyone said, it sounds like it does. So in time, I will see this.
It's kind of fantastical too.
Yeah, I've heard there's like a metaphysical, like kind of magical.
Yeah.
I don't
And
A magical horror. It's
I don't-
weird.
I don't mean to be that guy, like, guy who's just seen Neon Genesis Evangelion. Oh, this reminds me of Neon Genesis Evangelion. But the ending, like, when it's, like, going through, like, the real life, it goes through, like, real life footage and shit, and, like, it sort of edits it like End of Evangelion, where it's just, like, it's bombarding you with all this fucking shit, and you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with us? What happened? You know, like, and it's just like, how can a group of people go this fucking far? You know, and it, like, yeah, just that rapid editing of flashing it in your face, and just like, it's expressing how violent and how horrifying it was by, like, just like being violent on your visual sense. You know,
It's a great anti-war movie.
it is. By, like, it's a great anti-war movie by taking you as far into the war as you can to show you why it's so bad. It kind of reminds me of the third Human Condition film.
I would say so.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That and Paths of Glory. They're all up there. Best anti-war movies.
Yeah, pretty good anti-war movies. Okay, and that's all the picks we got here. So before we run down our final stack, or created, I should say, let's go through all of our films one more time, starting with you, Little Brandini. What you got for us?
I have Freddy versus Jason, All That Jazz, and Saving Mr. Banks.
Chris, what you got for us?
I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, Sausage Party, and Blade Runner.
I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus has got to be on this stacked, because we're never using this anywhere else.
I'd have to agree with that. And then mine are Fire in the Sky, High and Low, and Come and See. All right, Mommy Kissing Santa Claus automatically in. It's automatic. I don't care about Christmas. I'm just gonna put Mommy. There we go.
Why did you look at Ethan? Why did you look at her?
She looked at me. Stop. I like. Can we put fire? What do you think of mine? Could be on the list. I like Fire in the Sky.
I agree.
Yeah, that scene. I mean, that's all I know.
Because you could use Come and See for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Come and
That's
See could
true.
be used eventually.
And High and Low. If we ever do police
Kurosawa or
films,
something.
I don't know. We're pretty ACAB. We might never do police films, but if we want to, I don't know. All right, let's do Fire in the Sky, and then I like. We haven't really done. I wanted to do one for action. Like, this scene is worth it for the action, so I think we could do Freddy vs. Jason for that one, where it's like, that's why you want to watch the film. You go into it for that. But I also like Brandon's Saving Mr. Banks of, like, multi-layered finales in a sense. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Because it's very much mirroring her life, but also mirroring the end of Mary Poppins, because it's like personally connected to her, and I think it is multi-layered, and I think it brings the film together. But I think the movie as a whole is it's just good, you know.
Yes. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. Both those picks sound good to me. Well, like, okay, so I saw Mama Kissing Off. We have our comedy, like, fun one.
Yeah.
With Fire in the Sky, we have like a horror. So we have comedy, we have horror. I don't know. That's a hard one. I could take either.
Yeah. Let's let Brandon choose. Brandon, you choose. It's your films.
Brandon, why don't you choose? We're happy with both.
What do you think would thematically fit best in this stack?
I'm trying to think what would fit more so as like tonally.
Yeah.
Because like we've got a comedy. If we do Saving Mr. Banks, it's just a straight drama.
Mm-hmm.
What's the third one again? That we're determining?
Just those two. Just those two.
Just those two movies?
No, like pick one of those two.
Pick one of those two.
I don't want to pick.
I just want to let you know this is a podcast. You don't want to pick? Okay. I'll pick. Fuck it. You two are cowards. I'll pick it. I'm gonna go with saving. No. I don't know.
You guys are cowards. I don't know.
Actually, I don't know. No, I'm gonna go with Freddy vs. Jason. That's what I'm gonna say.
All right.
Really?
Because it's an action-packed one, and that's what you want to see when you go to see the movie. You know, and that's what you
No,
get.
I want Sausage Party.
You want Sausage Party?
No, I'm joking.
You're joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
The last scene.
That was the scene that we chose.
That's what Chris chose.
We read my
Chris Chan.
my review that I wrote when I was 17 years old.
I want to see that.
You want to? Should we watch Sausage Party when we're done? No. Okay.
We're good.
We could want. All right. No. Let's go with Freddy
All
versus
right.
Jason. I'm
Let's
calling
write
it.
it down.
All right. Let's order this thing. Let's put.
How do you order? There's no reason to order this.
No, there's got to be some sort of narrative order to this. I'm gonna say Mommy Kissing Santa Claus last.
Okay. It's a wholesome ending. It's a very wholesome ending.
Yeah, let's end with the wholesome ending. Let's go Freddy. Let's go Freddy versus Jason. Fire in the Sky, and then I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
A horror triple feature. I love it. Let's do it. I'm down.
All right, this is Stack's final stack of movie stealing scenes. Quintessential final stack, starting with Brandon. Kick us off.
Our first film is Saving Mr. Banks. No, just kidding. It's Freddy versus Jason, an action-packed horror fest that has a great climactic battle between Freddy and Jason. It is very hilarious. It's not very scary, but it is scene stealing.
It's true. And our next film is Fire in the Sky, an okay movie about dang old hillbillies saying, I done saw an alien and kidnapped my friend. But it all comes together in a really climactic ending where you get to see what finally truly happens. And it is the scariest scene put to film because the guy gets abducted, probed by aliens. It's horrifying. Aliens are fucking scary. Little Gray Men, to be more specific. Horrifying film. Fire in the Sky. Chris, what's our last film?
Our final film is the 2002 classic holiday special. I saw
Holiday
Mommy
special.
Kissing Santa Claus, a wonderful story about family and unity, except it was made like terribly. And that's our stack, everybody.
And that's our stack, everybody. I don't care about Christmas.
I care about Stacked.
And now for the finale, guys. I got my results from my COVID test. We teased it at the beginning of the episode. And I'm gonna read them out right here.
Oh shit.
Positive. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm negative. I'm just kidding.